Hello, this is Alessandrina, and today I'm going to talk about the power of healing. And in this process of understanding the power of healing and how you can access this power, I'm going to explain how essentially we can redirect a lot of our subconscious energy into a very focused process of healing. And the way that this can be explained comprehensively and understood and integrated comprehensively is by understanding how when we become sick, when we feel not whole, when we feel that we're experiencing different physical symptoms, for instance, and that can apply also to mental and emotional symptoms, how much of our subconscious projects about what is happening, how much of a story we tell ourselves about what is happening. So for instance, if someone is feeling sick and they get diagnosed, for instance, with an ailment, a disease, and then based upon what the diagnosis that they receive and the symptomology that they experience, there's going to be a process of interpretation and a process of mental projection about those interpretations, what it means, what are the implications in the present moment and into the future. And so for a lot of people, there's actually a process that is not understood and that is very subconscious of hypnosis that goes on when we become aware that we have an illness or that when we receive a diagnostic. And that hypnotic process, you can also, you could say that in a way it acts as a placebo. Meaning that the moment that we receive a diagnostic, that we are told we have this illness or this disease, we begin to experience our symptoms through the process of projection and of what the collective consciousness believes about this disease or this illness, which is not helpful. In addition to that, based on statistics and what has happened for other people, we begin to imagine that the same experiences that others have had would also be our own experiences. And so, again, we begin to hypnotize ourselves and to go into placebo and to believe whatever we are basically reading as information or receiving as information as true and real. And therefore, we begin to relate to ourselves, to our condition, to our symptoms through that lens. And that's not going to help our healing. Now, I'm not saying not to inform ourselves and not to receive information about any condition or disease or illness that we experience. I'm simply saying that it's very important to understand the implications of that on the subconscious mind, and therefore, while being aware and conscious of some of the ways in which the disease or the illness has unfolded for others, that it's important to maintain self-sovereignty in your own process of personal experience. And to become aware of what you're, with your mind, what you are telling yourself. So you could say that the power of healing comes from empowering your mind to focus on the path and the vision of your healing, rather than to focus on all the different interpretations and projections that are going to say that you're not going to heal, or that you're going to continue to feel the way that you're feeling, or even that you're going to die, or to feel a lot of pain and discomfort. So the more we focus in this way on the pain, the discomfort, the potential for death, and also reading into our symptoms and projecting onto our symptoms what they mean. And the more we let the mind kind of run free with all of that, having statements in our system such as I'm never going to get better, I'm never going to feel better, this is never going to end, or I'm going to die, or whatever other story, whatever other statement, belief may be running in our system. It's very important to become aware of that, because that is the greatest obstacle to healing. So your greatest obstacle to healing is actually your mind. It has been proven scientifically that the placebo is actually more effective than any medicine. Again, I'm not in any way saying not to take a medication or anything like that. I'm simply saying that the power of your mind, which has been proven by many spiritual masters who, through the power of their minds, have been able to actually transmute and really alchemize any substance that comes into their bodies, including poisons. So if we have this innate capacity to transmute, to alchemize things, and to placebo, to go into placebo, then it's so important to be aware of that so that we can empower ourselves not to go into a process of hypnosis and alchemy and transmutation that is based on the negative, and listening to the mind in this way, and to only be clearing that, and by releasing that energy, by liberating that energy, being able to focus and to put all of your energy on actually your vision of your healing, meaning visualizing your whole body in a state of vibrant health, in a state of wholeness and well-being and relaxation, and learning how to get to that point of being able to go from all those different recordings of all the ways in which we can interpret things to be going wrong in our system, in our health, into a process of transmutation of this energy, alchemizing and moving into a state where the only vision, the only focus is on the healing, is on the state of wholeness, is on the state of vibrant health, and making that shift so that the greatest obstacle, which is all of the different projections and beliefs that could be running in your system, no longer run in your system. So this is simple in theory, of course, this process of going from imagining the worst and focusing on what we don't want to really visualizing and focusing one-pointedly on what we do want and hope and are intending for. And at the same time, it's the most challenging thing for most people, simply because the samsara, the illusion of the mind, is very strong, and therefore if we have been telling ourselves a certain story, if we have been projecting onto our symptoms what they mean, if we have been resonating with the collective consciousness in regards to our symptoms and the way that we feel in our bodies, then that's going to have a lot of momentum. So for a lot of people that I talk to, one of the most challenging experience is essentially to go into a state of meditation, to feel themselves whole and healed, and to have that experience, and then to be able to ground it and keep it in the body, and when symptoms still arise, to not react to those symptoms and not go into that same process of projection. So the process of transmutation here is so important, and also the process of faith, because ultimately for one to be able to let go of the prior interpretations and realize that the symptoms are simply a result of continuing to believe in the past, to believe in the past being the way that we project the past to be, and then to continue to keep that alive in the present moment. So it can be challenging when we look outside of ourselves and we look at what we see and we imagine, well, actually, I'm not safe. What I'm experiencing right now is the same as what I was experiencing before. So I'm not healed, I'm not whole, I'm not in vibrant health. And so it's that duality that we move into, where it's like either we are experiencing in meditation this state of wholeness, and then when we come back into the dense reality of our lives and there's more of the energy of the past and we're more in the subconscious, meaning in the programs of the past, then we can be faced with the same projections and the same illusions from the past, and then reacting to that. So when we become aware of that, and we are more and more able to operate from faith and to know in our hearts that we do have the capacity to transcend, to transmute, to move from a state that is a past state to a present state, which is only focused in the present moment, in for instance, in this situation, in the healing, in the wholeness, in the state of vibrant health. When we are able to shift in that way and to stay there, and whenever something seems to be happening outside of ourselves that seems to revalidate to us the past, it's being able in that moment to let that go, to completely forgive the thought, forgive the feeling, forgive what seems to be unfolding, and to come back into the present moment, to come back to the vision of what we're creating, to come back to one pointed focus onto what we are intending, our intention in the present moment, to be whole, to be healthy, and to experience this state of integration. So what I'm describing is actually the back and forth, the duality is part of the process of integration. And the more we integrate the understanding that we are healing and we are healing those parts, the more we actually have this experience. And the more we have this experience, the more it revalidates that. And the more the past becomes more past and less present, and the more the present moment is reinforced, revalidated, and now we are living in the present moment as the point of creation of the future, rather than the past continuing to create the future. So going back into the duality, when people operate from I'm either in meditation feeling great, or when I come out of meditation, my symptoms come back and I feel once again all of the negative influences that I feel from my symptomology and the way that I process my symptomology. So when we can let go of that dualism and realize that it's a spectrum, meaning that every time that you're practicing in the present moment, what you're intending and what you're wanting to create, what you're actually doing is you're resolving and releasing more and more of the past. So it's a gradual process. It's not a dualistic process like I'm either healed completely or I'm completely sick. It doesn't work like that. Again, it's on a scale, meaning the state of wholeness and vibrant health is on a scale. And so when we can recognize that and not go into those dualistic perspectives of feeling good and then not feeling good, and we can just realize that we're actually on the scale, growing and growing towards wholeness and vibrant health, and that maybe we're not completely on that scale, we're not towards the upper end of that scale, we're more towards the lower end of that scale. When we realize that, then we can empower that energy that we cultivate in meditation to get more strongly grounded, and for us to have that experience, that grounded experience of being whole, of being in a state of vibrant health and being healed. So I hope this is helpful in my experience and with the people that I work with, that is one of the greatest obstacle to healing, that illusion and that revalidation of ways in which we project that things will not get better, that we are not better, that we are going to have experiences that we don't want to have. And so it's very important to make that shift so that you can empower yourself to heal and to feel whole. And by the way, there is a meditation that I released recently, which is heal or healing at the deepest level. And that meditation is actually a practice of what I'm talking about right now. So it's really helping you to anchor and ground into the present moment, into what you're intending, and also to help you uncover the subconscious parts of your system that are not aligned with healing, that are not aligned with actually being in a state of wholeness and vibrant health, that keep validating and reinforcing the past by going back into the past and looking at ways in which you have felt in the past and continuing to build momentum from the past of what you don't want, instead of focusing on what you do want to create in your life. I hope this helps you, and I wish you so much love and peace and equanimity on your healing journey.